Good afternoon. Muy buenas tardes. This is Vancouver Co-op Radio, CFRO 102.7 FM, www.coopradio.org. This is the Monday Brown Bagger. I'm Alfred Webre, and today in this special update, we have a special guest, Mr. Carl William Malaskiewicz-Blaise, who is currently detained in the Laval Immigration Detention Center in Laval, Quebec. Welcome, Carl.
Hello.
Yes. Now, you have a very special case, and as I understand it, Mr. Ken Fernandez, who's an attorney and who's also one of the directors of the Canadian Action Party there in Quebec, has been helping you with this case. And my understanding of the background is that in the United States, you went to prison for 5 years because in 1999, in the year 2000, you made some internet drawings and flyers and drawings that were critical of President George W. Bush and his execution of the born-again prisoner in Texas, Karla Faye Tucker, where he's on record as having said, quote, "Please don't kill me." Could you tell us about that?
Well, I had been arrested by the Secret Service, after making various drawings, including, several drawings that were in response to Bush's comments about Karla Faye Tucker. After he had mocked the woman, he went on TV and made fun of a woman he had put to death. He had agreed to put to death, and when he was governor of Texas, and she was in, I believe, a Huntsville prison, and he had gone on TV and made fun of this woman he had executed, and he refused to, overturn her death sentence and give her life in prison as she requested, so she could minister to other women and relate to them, because, she herself had said, she was involved in drugs and prostitution, and she could relate to other women who've been through similar experiences, and she could try to teach them about God. And I really didn't like, Bush's attitude. This is right before he started running for president, campaigning for president in 1999. And I responded by making various comments about George Bush and his family, and I had made several drawings about George W. Bush. And I had several visits from the Secret Service, and I was later arrested in May of 2000, in response to these comments I had made about George W. Bush.
Right. Now, I understand that the Secret Service, in connection with this case, fabricated evidence against you. Could you detail some of that for us?
Well, what they did is they took my words out of context. I was being held in jail on nonviolent domestic charges. There was a disagreement between this girl that was living with me. She had robbed my house, and there was a disagreement that I had with her and my grandmother about money that she had owed my family. And this girl pressed charges against me, but later the charges were dismissed, and the judge, the state court, had ordered the charges dropped, and I was held for extradition from Virginia back to Florida, and they were dropped. And then the day I was ordered released, the Secret Service came to the jail and arrested me for the comments I had made about George Bush. And, because he was a protectee of the Secret Service, because he's a family member, a son of the ex-president, so that automatically gave him Secret Service protection. And basically, the Secret Service later, they also made up a story about me telling one of their agents, this was supposedly in front of my lawyer, about a dead body that I had supposedly disposed of in Florida. And this statement from the Secret Service was later brought up in a court motion for a mental health evaluation. And in this motion, a court motion, the Secret Service agent said that I had told him in front of my lawyer it would be a matter of time before they found the body in Florida. And the Secret Service used this false statement to get a search warrant to my former residence in where I was living in Virginia. And they got a search warrant, and they went into my house, and they took my computer, my files, my documents, and they, under the pretext of looking for a murder weapon, that was supposedly used in this murder that I had committed or disposing of a body. And my lawyer later refuted these allegations. He, went to the judge and contacted the U.S. attorney involved, and this was taken out of the court record. They amended the motion and basically removed the statement because it was not true, but the damage had been done. The Secret Service had went into my house under false pretenses. They had confiscated my files, my computer equipment, and documents, and other belongings. And then later, when the court granted the mental health evaluation, they had a doctor who was also an employee of the U.S. Secret Service come visit me at the jail. He declared that I needed further evaluation, that he believed I was mentally incompetent to stand trial, and I was sent to a federal medical center in North Carolina for almost a year, and they evaluated me and stated that I did not have a mental illness, and I returned to court. I got a copy of this doctor who evaluated me, his curriculum vitae, his resume, in which, in his own resume, it states that he was a present employee of the U.S. Secret Service. He had provided psychological training to the field agents of how to deal with stress in their job-related, duties.
And what was that doctor's name?
Dr. Robert Phillips. A copy of his resume, his CV, is on my website. My attorney has copies of all these documents. And
so you spent, as I understand it, essentially 5 years in prison because of a case where, number one, you made drawings and flyers that were, part of free speech, were protected by the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which protects free speech.
Yes.
And you were kept in jail by false statements conjured up by the Secret Service, and then by a psychiatric exam by a company psychiatrist under the employee of the Secret Service.
And this wasn't any ordinary doctor. If you read this doctor's resume, he was invited to the White House on numerous occasions. He was on TV and press conferences with Al Gore and Bill Clinton. He had took part in the investigation of John Hinckley attempting to assassinate Reagan. There was, a lot of political ties. He had a 25-page resume, and this doctor has been, a prominent doctor. He's very well, tied with the Secret Service. You read his own writings and, in his own resume, you can see that he's politically connected.
Right, and
Secret Service employee.
And his name again is Robert Phillips?
Yes.
And he went to Yale and to Harvard, you say?
Yes, and he also went to Mayo Medical School. I believe in his resume he had his college training from 1969, and he received his postgraduate, I believe, in 1986.
Uh-huh. Now tell me, how long have you been in Canada in the detention at the Laval Immigration Facility?